what it was. I have the New Vision and Priscilla has the Daily Monitor there. But looking at the front page of the New Vision, we have a very big headline, who is leading? And this is very interesting, Felix and Priscilla. They're giving you some of the people that are leading in the provincial results so far. We have Dr. Jane Ruth Achen, that is Arua City Member of Parliament. We have Moses Magogo, Budiope East. We have Rebecca Kadaga, Kamuli, then Charles Ayume, Koboko Municipality, Nathan Itungo, Kashari South, Jimmy Akena, Lila East, and Sumani Basalirwa, Bujiri Municipality, JJ Odong, Omongo County, and Paul Muiru, Jinja East constituency. So these are some of the people that are leading in according to the New Vision. The provision results have so far come in, and that is what they have received. Very interesting here. Felix, any of this was a surprise to you?
Not really. There was a bit of good collaboration when it comes to the opposition. For example, when you see the places where Mwiru is leading, remember he's coming to Parliament. The rejuvenation was by Robert Chagulanyi. So NUP didn't put a stronghold in that place. You see the Basari who I wasn't also competed against. But of course, the surprising, the JJ Odongos of this world, and Moses Ali. Funny thing, they are also back in the lead and they are back in the game. You can imagine Moses Ali as Member of Parliament and JJ Odong, which has not been the previous tendency of them.
Then Dr. Jane Ruth Achen, and Minister.
It's expected. She has performed. She's the best performer in the previous year. So who wouldn't want to vote for Jane Ruth Achen?
For me, my interesting one would be Engineer Moses Magogo, the one who's the FUFA president currently.
Yes.
Having that lead is very, very interesting. We can only hope for the best. However, the interpretation of that on sports in Uganda, especially football, where he's president over, we'll see how that tallies out. Doing two together. Yeah,
it's you see, most recently I've seen people use this association of other professional bodies as springboards for their political careers. You've also noticed that Kaziwe Bashir, former president of Uja, is also doing well. So far he's in the lead. That is Kawempe South, if I'm not mistaken. He's battling against Munyagwa there and is giving a bloody nose, at least by the time we came to the Segirinyas, are also giving Latif Sebaga a bloody nose.
Well, let's look at people who are giving bloody noses here. Daily Monitor on the 15th of January, you do have Ronald Chibule, then you also have Florence Nachua that is also giving a lead there. Edward Sekandi is in there. We do have Amelia Chambade, Christo Storm, Muyingo. You also have Ruth Nankabira, Vincent Sempija, Betty Anwo.
Mama Mabira, isn't it?
Mama Mabira.
Isn't she the Mama Mabira?
No.
Okay, we get to look at the headline for the Daily Monitor this morning. VP ministers trailing in poll. Vote tallying went deep into the night. Mass voter turnout across the country. You'll get to look at faulty biometric machines mess up voting. Presidential candidates speak out on the poll. But you get to look at a picture of some of the candidates. You have Nancy Kalembe, then you also do have Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. You do have Henry Tumukunde and Chagulanyi smiling as he's casting his vote. We get to look on the other side. In elections, Museveni in early lead. Electoral Commission has announced. But the interesting one I want to look at is the lizard. Mr. Lizard responding to top ministers trailing in elections. There is no daddy in the constituency. What does that mean?
Ask the lizard.
Ask the lizard.
Okay. It comes out with what it feels is right there. But also in the New Vision, we have a very interesting headline there. I will accept polls outcome if there are no mistakes. That is Yoweri Kaguta, the incumbent president. If there are no mistakes, I will accept the results. That is another catchy headline in the New Vision. So far.
If I may comment on that statement, it's a genuine statement coming in from him, but we already have genuine mistakes that have come through from electoral commissions, failings. The biometrics definitely has been one of the biggest issues that we have experienced in this particular voting. So if the biometric machines were not functioning, they did not do their job, is the president not going to accept the results?
No. But Priscilla, you must also take a wide consideration of approach when you want to talk about elections. You do not pick on two spontaneous areas, because remember, if you want to accuse failure, you must have to have evidence that that particular failure in that area has caused a marginal loss. had that area voted, would it be different? So you go to onto those analyses. But again, the areas that they had these issues, they were rectified, and later elections went on. So that is not one of the defenses or accusations you'd bring against.
Well, Felix, it just reminded me of the previous cases we had, that most where the judges said, yes, we accept there were irregularities, but they were not sufficient enough, substantive enough to cause
a nullification
of elections.
So we wait.
There is that element of it, that yes, there could be these irregularities, but are they sufficient enough to cause nullification of the elections?
So we wait to see some of those things that are going to be coming up in the petitions, because petitions are going to come through. That one we cannot deny it. So I cannot wait to see what excuses people are going to be using in their petitions this time round. I want to look at page 2 of the Daily Monitor this morning. We get to look at today in history. Obote announces plan to expel Indians. This happened. Obote announces plan to expel Indians. This happened on the 15th day of January back in 1969, and Uganda's first electoral violence case was registered in 1961. That was the Kabaka Yeka party, YK. And it was a Uganda riot of sorts. So it's very interesting to note your history as we get into the deep of the elections, the aftermath of the elections. Then also there's a nice picture here in black and white from the archives. Polling assistants counting votes in presence of candidates, agents and voters at a polling station at Nachivuo in Kampala during the 1996 general election, the first general election that we had as a country. I like how people are keenly intent to see what exactly is happening in the box. That was not the fair case this time round for 2021, because people are not allowed to stay around. Cast your vote and go home. Then we get to look at in the news, Kasiri Atuochi. The vehicle of the state minister in the office of the vice president was shot at 8 times, and police are investigating whether the incident was staged or not. And then we also get to look at 2021 general elections. Yesterday, Uganda, you decided who should be your next president and parliamentary representatives, and so far President Museveni is hoping for a 6th elective term in office. But the editors speak for the Daily Monitor. In world news, of course, you're looking at the impeachment of President Donald Trump, which is or was on Wednesday, accusing him of inciting an insurrection last week at the Capitol Hill. Scoop and scoop, you look at what 14th January, the long-awaited day, was for so many Ugandans. They're giving you pictures there, jokes that went by, etc, etc. Just pick yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor, and you'll be get updates of things that are happening around the elections, and also other things. We are not blind to the current affairs that are happening elsewhere, but the dailies do have them this morning.
Priscilla, before we conclude with the dailies, there is an issue that we discussed earlier, and in the New Vision, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Justice Simon Byabakama, explains, and this is the EC chief, Simon Byabakama, said in Ntungamo district, voting at Kacherere polling station in Rushenyi County was cancelled following the theft of polling materials by unknown people. The police, Byabakama added, are investigating the matter, and that the polling will resume today. For this particular polling station, you will be able to cast your vote today. Also, they give you interesting pictures of the 11 where they did cast their vote, and what the feel of what it was there in terms of pictures being given. High voter turnout there also is one of the things that the New Vision has pointed out. High voter turnout, ministers struggle. That is also something else. Police spokesperson Fred Enanga distributed also gives you more information there, but basically the New Vision has given you so much regarding where each of the presidential candidates did cast their vote. Katumba Ina Jaze there, Pastor Fred Mwesije, very smart. This man has, throughout the campaign, has maintained smartness, extreme smartness. Mugisha Mount also casting his vote with his mask, General Henry Tumukunde, and Mayambara Wire washing hands with a mask on. Nancy Kalembe ready to cast a vote there, and Norbert Mao looking on. I think he was being given directions to which particular area he should cast his vote. This is the Election Hub, and we give you 24/7 coverage of the results as they flow in from the various tally centers, both at district and national level in Kyambogo. Keep it with us.
My fellow countrymen, my name is Robert Kayanja. I'm a pastor and a preacher of the gospel. I was born in 1962 in January, and this wonderful country was born in 1962 in October. So we are really like twins. I love Uganda. I love the fauna. I love the mountains, the hills, and I love the people of Uganda. We are resilient. We are wonderful people. I want to pray for you because today is a special day when we elect our leaders. And I'm praying for the peace of this country and the tranquility. We've just continued. Soon we're going to finish 120 days of fasting as we've been praying for this country. But you know what? The grace of God is upon this nation. We have a mandate as a country. For God and my country is not just a cliche or a motto. It is the force that drives this country to become better. 30 years ago or more, God gave us the peace, and our peace is non-negotiable. And God has allowed this democracy to grow, and I'm grateful because this democracy, we are seeing it today. In this election today, be reminded, we have the oldest candidate and the youngest candidate. It can only happen in Uganda when a 23-year-old is eyeing for the highest office in the country. And yet, also the old man is still vying and presenting his manifesto for this country. It only happens in Uganda. We are the most privileged people. Please, I pray, don't violate this wonderful democracy that God has given us. It may not be perfect, and it may be young, but we are going somewhere. So I wish you the best, and I'm praying for you that God will protect you and keep you, Uganda, and we will be the power of Africa. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, as Ugandans are casting their votes, may your great hand be upon us. May your spirit be upon us. May we continue to be a nation of progress. May you protect our armed forces, the army, the police, the prisons, and the security guards. May you protect every Ugandan. My Father, as we cast our votes, may you protect us and defend us from COVID-19. My Father, bless our nation with the best of agriculture, with the best of innovation, and with the best of the land. And when the elections results come out, let us accept the results, because we know it would have been done by us Ugandans. We thank you, Lord, because your Holy Spirit guides us and keeps us, and you continue to put your hand upon our nation. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Good morning to Uganda once again. Thank you so much for choosing UBC as your election hub. As we continue to give you the during and the aftermath of the elections, the tallying center is also busy doing the tallying. And as of midnight last night, we had some results that were coming through from the tallying center. So here from the election hub, let's take a look at what these results so far are.
And the votes have received. They have received. We have so far for each candidate, and the percentage. Amriat Oboy Patrick, 4,617, which represents 5.65% of the valid votes cast for the candidates. For the 330 polling stations. Kavuleta Kiza Joseph, 932 votes, which represents 1.14 of the valid votes cast from the 330 polling stations. Kalembe Nancy Linda, 534 votes, representing 0.65% of the valid votes cast in the 330 polling stations. Katumba John, 332, representing 0.41% of the valid votes cast from the 330 polling stations. Kyagulanyi Sentam Robert, 22,802, representing 27.90% of the valid votes from the 330 polling stations. Mao Nobat, 841 votes, representing 1.03%. Mayambala Wile, 197 votes, representing 0.24%. Mugisha Muntu Greg, 583 votes, representing 0.71%. Messi Jeffred, 274, representing 0.34%. Tumukunde Henry Kakurugu, 515 votes, representing 0.63%. Yoweri Museveni Tuhaburwa Kaguta, 50,097 votes, representing 61.3% of the total votes of the valid votes cast from the 330 polling stations. Valid votes so far 81,724. Invalid votes 3,997, representing 4.66% of the total votes cast from those polling stations, 330 polling stations. Total votes 85,721, representing 0.47% of registered voters from those polling stations. Spoiled votes 153.
Well, we've had it from the Electoral Commission and Simon Biabakama, who's the justice. This is as of last night, please note, and in consideration of polling stations that are 1,051 polling stations, from which these results have been picked so far. Remember, we do have 34,684 polling stations in the entire country. Our districts increased to 146 districts. So all these are contributing to how the results are coming in for Uganda Deciding in the year 2021. It is the election hub, and we're definitely going to be giving you more updates. I would like to look at these particular results that Electoral Commission has considered so far. If my producer can actually give us those details, we would like to look at those details and just give you it in percentages, what it looks like for each of the 11 candidates in the election day 2021. As Uganda is deciding, it's not about colors, it's not about a gender right now, it's about percentages. Looking at Yoweri Museveni, Tibuhaura Kaguta, so far the results that have been collected, he has the tune of 50,097 votes, and they are giving him a 61.3%. Just to remind you that on consideration of a win, it's on grounds of a 50 plus 1%. And then we get to look at Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert, who has so far collected 22,802 votes, and it's giving him a percentage to the tune of 27.9%. Amriat Oboy Patrick, who is on the FDC card in this particular race, he is at 4,617 voters that have chosen him as president should he be elected, and then it is at a 5.65%. We also do have Kabuleta Kiza Joseph, who has been given 932 votes from the consideration of the 1,051 polling stations that we have received this information from so far. And so for Kabuleta, he is at 1.14% in terms of percentages there. Then we get to look at Mao Norbert, who has had 841 Ugandans choosing him as president, and the percentage stands at 1.03%. In consideration of these percentages, they are yet to also be adjusted as we get more updates coming in from the Tally Center in Chambogo with the Electoral Commission. We get to look at the other four candidates in the race. Mugisha Mutu Greg has had 583 Ugandans choosing him as president so far from the 1,051 polling stations, and that puts him at a 0.71%. Interesting. The only lady in the race, Kalembe Nancy Linda, is having 534 Ugandans believing in her mission 56, and that gives her a 0.65% so far on the table. And we do have in the second last place Tumukunde Henry Kakurugu having 0.63% and 515 Ugandans that would consider him for presidency. And then finally Katumba John, the man of OES slogan, having 332 Ugandans considering him for presidency, and a 0.41 percentage there. These elections are these results are partial as we speak, and we're going to be getting more and more as the Tally Center gives us those live updates. So far from Chambogo, this is what it's looking like that has been confirmed and dusted from 1,051 polling stations. We do have another balance. Total polling stations that we're looking at is 34,684 polling stations, and so we are having different people counting those votes. Of course, we have seen two places where the voting was cancelled, and we are having the report stating that now or today they're going to be having those voters do cast their vote for the 2021, and we're hoping that those are also going to contribute. Of course, the fact that those two polling stations are having their voting today may also delay the end of the results. How far or how soon we can get in the final results, it could stretch from 48 hours to maybe more hours in consideration of those two places that have caused a hiccup in the electoral process. But the election hub, we're definitely going to be giving you live coverage until the whole election process is done and dusted and we have a presidential elect. We get to look at the key statistics. Uganda general elections. Number of districts, 146 districts have been considered for this election. You have number of constituencies to the tune of 353 constituencies, and the number of sub-counties in our entire country, you have 2,190, and the number of parishes is 10,594 parishes in consideration. Then the polling stations, we have 34,684 polling stations. Now, we get to look at the increasing population every single election. We do have an increment in population equally. So the population so far is at 40 plus, and the number of voters that are choosing or chose to go to the polls this time around were in consideration of 18,103,603 million voters. Now, the question becomes, the invalid votes will reduce this number. You also have consideration of people who decided to vote but did not actually cast their vote. We get to look at Uganda's elective position since 2006. In 2006, they were 1,286,435. Then we go to look at the year that was 2011. They were 1,926,454. We do have an update coming in from Ambrose. Good morning to you, Ambrose.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm very fine.
Isingiro is a very interesting place. What is the state of affairs in Isingiro this morning?
Isingiro, of course, the electoral process yesterday ended very well at around 7. By 8, people were still tallying. And of course, by around 9, 10 there, the results at the declaration forms were being given to the district headquarters where the tally center is. But of course, at around 10 there, journalists were blocked from entering.
Okay.
We were requested to call the RDC and the DPC to give us confirmation that we should enter. But of course, when we tried to call them, they refused to pick us. So we are blocked from entering, and right now we are still blocked from outside.
Ambrose, what was the reason given for the refusal of entrance?
There is chaos in some constituencies.
Okay.
Even right now, I can report that some declaration forms haven't reached the district. So, for example, in Isingiro South, the declaration forms were withheld by some candidates. That is Honorable Bakunda. He withheld them. They are still not here, and the ballot papers. Talk about Bukanga constituency. There was a mayor election, I can tell you. For example, people were beaten that side. We received that information at around 10. When the declaration forms were being delivered at the tallying center, people were beaten, and some were arrested. We are yet to confirm where the place that
was this because they were trying to
the independent candidate, that is one of the deal, has not even reached at the district tallying center. We can only see Kangwaji. So in Ukanga North constituency, Kamara slept in the cells in police. We are told they're going to release him after they have declared the winner. We don't know if I told he emerges as the winner. How are they going to declare him when he fails?
Yes.
Likewise in Isingiro West, Louden are really trying to spearhead himself. We are wondering what if the returning officer declares him as the winner. How are they going to announce him when he sees himself?
Okay.
So that is the situation around here. We are still here keeping an eye to see what is going to happen.
Well, let's talk about the COVID-19 guidelines. As of yesterday, when you experienced the different constituencies that you covered, what was it like? Were they fully covered?
No, I can report no. Of course, people will think that COVID-19 is not there. That is what I saw.
So they were not wearing masks?
People in the queues, they are not putting on masks. Some would go to the queue without washing their hands. Some would go to the queue without sanitizing. And of course, we saw the other time the Electoral Commission chairman, Justice Samuel Wakama, was saying that after voting, people should go back to their homes. But of course, in Isingiro, people after voting, they stayed there. I can tell you, they stayed there. In fact, we saw the army men and police trying to chase them away, but they refused. And not until turning was done, that's when they went home. But this is of COVID-19, people refuse to observe, so I can tell you.
Okay, so I suppose this did go for more sensitization in Isinjiro. The other question that I'd want to know, were there any hiccups in the entire process? For example, other constituencies were talking about biometric machines slowing down the voting process in the areas. Were there any hiccups in Isinjiro?
The only hiccup that I saw was the rainfall. Of course, rainfall started at around 10, like I told you yesterday.
Okay.
Started at around 10, and it ceased around 4:30 there. And of course, we all understand that the Election Commission situated time should be strong. That people voted from 4 to 6. Actually, voting stopped at around 6. That's when they started timing. That was the only hiccup I saw, but the use of the biometric machine, it wasn't a very big problem.
Okay.
It was a very big problem to me because I saw people were using it and it was fine with them.
Ambrose, I also want to find out, the people in Isinjiro, I'm sure they also had something to say about this particular election and how the voting went. Did you have a chance to have an interaction with any of them, and you could share that interaction with us?
Of course, you know, in every election there are always winners and losers. And of course, the winner will say the election was good, and the loser will say the election was a sham. So, if at all we had network, we had internet, we would have got those opinions from actually. But I can tell you that people have mixed reactions. Take an example like Kisingro North. The people I've talked to them right now, they told me by the time they reached at the polling station, all the ballot papers were already voted. Actually, they would reach at the polling station, they just teach them in the register, tell them that you have already voted, you can go back home, without them picking their preferred candidate. That is the single note. And this is also what happened in the Uganda constituency, represented by Honorable Kangwadi Stephen and the PUs. By the time elections would reach there, they would find the ballot papers were already picked. They would only, mark them, pick them in the register and tell them you can go back, who have already voted. And of course, I've been talking to some colleagues of mine here. He's an elder man. He was like, yes, we did that because in Kampala, even people voted Bobby Wine overwhelmingly. So we have to do the same in Kenya. So I was wondering whether this was an election or what. But, I mean, we want to see what will happen.
Okay. Take us through the list of the women that are standing for Women MP in Isinjiro.
Just in Ayabazulu Kashiza is the incumbent. Of course, she lost during the primary by Kireya Mugunya. By now, Justin, Kireya Mugunya, that is the stand there in the lead. In the other lead, of course, we reserve that to the Electoral Commission to announce. But of course, as far as I'm concerned, I see things by this time, Kira is still leading. Likewise, in Mukanga constituency, Mukanga is still leading in Piwe, who is protesting on an independent ticket. In Sindro North, Honorable Vice Minister is still in the early lead. In Mukanga North, that is Honorable Nathan Janima, who was protesting in Kamara, who is now in police cells, is still leading. And in Sindro South, by yesterday, Gilbert Wabamba, who is protesting on an independent ticket, was still leading by the time the people were carrying, because almost all the polling stations will restart. He was leading by 100 votes, 60 votes, 80 votes. But by now, I can see things actually changing. And of course, this is the place where I told that the incumbents will share some declaration forms and some ballot boxes have not reached here. So things might change. We don't know. We're going to see. But when we go to Sindro West, by yesterday, the sub bearer, that is Anthony Tumhere, was still leading. But now I can see things starting changing, where Raub and Ham, who is now in police, who is now leading. So things are changing every other minute. I wish we would be inside here, would give a clear picture. But this is the information we are getting from inside. The people who are in the study center.
All right, thank you so much, Ambrose. As you say, things are changing every single minute. We are waiting to look forward to another update coming from Isingiro.
Thank you.
All right. So we've heard it from that part of Uganda. Interesting to note that some voters got there, and on receiving their ballot papers, apparently they had been informed that they have already voted, yet they were not yet voting. So that's an interesting update that is also coming through. Electoral Commission would have to address that in one way or another. Live updates coming in from the Election Hub. You're watching UBC, and this is Good Morning Uganda Special Edition. We definitely have to continue looking at the figures so far as these live updates coming in, and tallying centers also making its tallies. We are definitely going to have those percentages changing as far as presidential candidates is concerned, and different MPs, as we've heard from Isingiro, one is already being declared a winner even before the Electoral Commission can actually declare them a winner. We get to look back at Uganda's elective position since 2006. Looking at the year 2021, there are 2,775,492, and this gives us an increment of 489,000 voters. Interesting to note. 2016, there were 2,286,158, and this gave us an increment of 359,000 people that were choosing to vote in 2016. Then in 2011, recapping it there, 1,926,454, giving us an increment of 640,000 in increment. And 2006, it started off at 1,286,435. So far, for the last 4 times Uganda has decided, those have been the elective positions since 2006. Also to note, key to note is that for every one elected leader, there is 16 Ugandan citizens that are casting their vote. That is very interesting, a statistic to note as we look at the tallying center and the results that are coming back. This could change because now we do have 18.1+ million voters for the year 2021 general election, and this could adjust in the next statistics that will be coming through later on as we're done and dusted with the entire electoral process. President has been elected, MPs have been elected, etc. So we get to look at general elections 2021. Registered voters, just a reminder, we are 18,103,603 voters that decided that we will make a choice in the year 2021. Then you also get to look at those that have so far cast their vote. We're looking at 81,724, and we also have tallying polling stations that are to be tallied to the tune of 34,684. Then we are also looking at rejected votes. We have 3,997 declared polling stations so far. There is 330,000 scores by candidate. We do have Nancy Kalembe, who's having a 0.65% so far. We do have Tumukunde, who's having a 0.63% so far, with 515 voters would decide for him to be a president. We do have John Katumba with a 0.41%, and that would have given him 332 voters believing in what he is offering Uganda. Fred Mwesige, 0.34% so far, with 274 voters having chosen him as their president. You do have Mayambala Wile, who also has had 197 voters so far choosing him as president, giving him a 0.24%. Those are scores by candidates that we are looking at this morning. We get to look at the ballots that have been counted so far. We have 85,721 ballots that have been counted so far. 85,721 ballots that have been counted so far. Now we look at the score by candidate. The key FDC representative Amriat, he's having a 5.65%, 4,617 people that have chosen him as president. Kabuleta at 1.14%, 932 people have chosen him as president. You do have Norbert Mao. Surprisingly, he's having a less number deciding him as president compared to Kabuleta, 841. Then you do have Mugisha Muntu. They have called him the man with a sweet, sweet manifesto. But 583 people believe in this manifesto. 0.71% is where he stands. Nancy Kalembe, 534 voters have believed in the Mission 56 manifesto. 0.65% there. You do have Tumukunde, who is wanting to have a balance for the natural resource sharing in our country. 515 people have chosen him as a president, giving him a 0.63%. You have Katumba there, an independent. 332 people are believing this young man could have the future of this country. Mwesije Fred having 274 voters believing in his vision of having an ethic and faith-based country. We get to look at Mayambala with 197 people have chosen him as voters, voting, giving him a 0.24% there. So tentatively, that's how it's looking like. Of course, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is having the 61.3% so far, and we are also looking at Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu having the 27.9%. 22,802 people have believed in what National Unity Platform could do for Uganda. Amriat Oboy Patrick, 4,617 people are also believing in the key, or FDC having the key to the future of Uganda, giving them a 5.65%. Kabuleta in there, still in the rest, coming in at number 4 so far from the 1,051 polling stations that EC has looked at so far, and giving him an advantage to the 4th place with 932 voters. Norbert Mao in number 5 with 841 voters. Mugisha Musu in number 6 with 583. You have Nancy Kalembe in number 7 with 534. Tumukunde Henry in number 8 with 515. You have Katume John in number 9. 334, and you do have Fred Mwesuje in number 10 with 274, and Willie Mayambala so far is at the bottom of the table for presidential candidates as the results are coming in from the Electoral Commission. The Election Hub is committed to bringing you live updates here from UBC, as we do have a team at the tallying center in Chambogo, while the Electoral Commission is doing tallying from the balance of the polling stations. So far, these results are coming in from 1,051 polling stations that we are having consideration of these numbers. Bottom is Mayambala Widi, and on top we do have the incumbent president Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Felix.
It's very exciting how results are already turning up, and Priscilla, if you do take notice that at least for now the provisional results, you see the president taking toll, and the next is Robert Kyagulanyi, but with quite a difference, at least out of the 1,051 areas.
Yeah.
If you were to look at the spectrum of a 360 diagnosis, you do look at Uganda and the districts and how they voted. If your producer will give us that on the TV, you see how people actually voted in various districts and how the turnout is. Now you look at red, if you just take you through the key areas, when you look at red, those are areas where the National Unity Platform has actually gotten most of the support, and the yellow is where NRM is taking, and blue is that is Amuriat for FDC, Kabuleta, that is purple, and of course then the rest are not very much visible. But if you are to focus on the 3, the NRM is much more visible so far. But remember, these are provisional results, and as you can see the shades on the national map, not all of the districts have been brought in. There's probably actually the results remaining to be given to us are the much more than what is actually what we see. But so far, provisional results show His Excellency the President now at the lead with over 50%, and the next person, that is Robert Kyagulanyi, with over 20% there. Was this expected? Robert, if I'm just to bring you in, did you expect this? Did you see this coming, in your opinion?
Well, there are some surprises in some regions, but by and large, this is something I would expect. Later, when we are able to give you regions, specific districts, yes, Felix having so far of those that have come in, the incumbent leading. First and foremost, in every election, the incumbent has an upper hand in every election. But also, you'd find that the voting patterns have not changed so much to what, if you compare to 2016.
When you say in every election, someone in the USA will laugh at you.
Most elections, most of elections, you see that an incumbent, because there's what you've done, there's what they have to judge you on. And then, contrary to others who are making promises, like Priscilla earlier noted, some manifestos appeared maybe to Ugandans to be too good to be true. So for you have a yardstick that people can rely on. So if you've really delivered, then there is a very big opportunity that you would be coming in.
Maybe
yes, there are surprises that I can't say that, because, for example, you would expect that in some areas, maybe a bit of central, some of the areas you would maybe not have that feel so much. But I'm not surprised with the outcomes in the west, the outcomes in the northern part of it, where we've seen that for this last 5 years, the incumbent has done so much in terms of wealth creation, in terms of various programs targeting those particular areas. Talk about Guru, the rehabilitation program, NUSAF, so much has been there. And I think, well, the voters also rewarded in that manner.
But Robert, something we must also pick interest is what Priscilla did mention earlier, that when you want to look at how they are performing lately, you must associate them again with political parties on ground. Now, the challenges also trickle back to their candidates. And the question is, if you look on the spectrum of about 11 candidates, there are candidates who even didn't get out of Kampala. Is it because of facilitation? Is it because of ability or whatever? Now, the places where some of the candidates didn't reach, or probably didn't even bother to take their campaigns there, not because they didn't want, but probably resources. So the absence of formidable structures in terms of multi-party dispensation in this country has also affected how people vote. Because, well, it's only on a few times where you can vote someone you don't know, you have not seen, you've never heard of. But I'm happy and surprised that in as far as places like Moroto, we are talking to Asigoa from Napak, and was telling us people in Napak, Moroto, are voting for Katumba, even when he didn't go there, and a couple of others. They all had someone who voted for them.
The media was actually aiding some of these things, helping the candidates reach the messages to the
all
masses.
Borders
exactly.
of
So
Ugandan.
People like Katumba was a meme. Katumba was on social media. Katumba had a video running almost every week. Someone was talking about Katumba.
I think it was strategy for him.
Someone was taking a selfie with Katumba.
It must have been strategy.
It was a good, if we can call it marketing for it matter, that it was definitely interesting marketing. But I also want to note the fact that these numbers are here, partially of course, but they do also give us a very interesting picture in how much people actually could have believed in the manifestos that were shared.
You see, if you want to discuss manifestos, again, we have had this discussion before, Priscilla, you, me, and Robert, that it is on a small scale that elections, and not only in Uganda, but on the African continent or the vast of third world countries, are based on manifestos. I can tell you, as a matter of fact, whoever you voted for, you shouldn't or couldn't have gotten a chance to look at what they're offering. Most times, Africa defines politics in aspects of popularity, and that's what it is. No wonder, for them, it's about crowds. Chirabo will have over 4,000 people at his rally, and he will be, everyone will want to associate with him. We've had issues and statements like kingmakers. Someone will vote Priscilla because they associate themselves with Felix. Or the reverse, for example. Now, people never give time. Look at this, the stretch of members of parliament that we are taking into parliament this time round, and majorly for one particular party, or even all of them. People will say, Fetuvonda NRM, Fetuvonda NUP, and for them it's that. They will not ask you, what are you going to do for us? So, when you want to talk about manifestos, it is not something we have sold out as politicians or as countrymen. We never ask these questions. No wonder when we were discussing the previous debate, we were excited because it gave us an opportunity as a country to realize something different from the heckling, from all these things, where we'll be able to listen to people articulate issues. Because remember, leadership is about one, presentation, how you present yourselves. You want to have a president who's presentable.
Well, Felix, I must go to Ntungamo District Study Center right now. I do have Simon Ayamba on call. Good morning, Simon.
Good morning.
Simon, where are you right now?
Right now I'm at the district headquarters where the Tare Center is.
Okay.
And the tallying is going on.
Okay. So in Ntungamo, how many constituencies are under consideration for this election?
Actually, Ntungamo is among the big districts in the country. It has 5 constituencies.
Okay.
The constituency of Kajara, the constituency of Ruhama County, Ruhama East, Rushenyi, and Ntungamo Municipality.
Okay, and while you are at the district tallying center headquarters, do you have any idea who is in the lead right now, probably constituency by constituency?
Right now, for Ntungamo Municipality, we already have the winner. Results have been already declared. So far in Ntungamo Municipality, Yona Musingus of NRM was declared the winner early morning with 3,278 votes, making it 49.5%. And the second one was the this one of Alliance National for Transformation,
Yes.
Gerard Karuhanga, who was the incumbent MP. He lost the seat because he scored 2,422 votes with 36%. Then the independent, the Endeza Edward Vekunda, came in the 3rd position with 463 votes. Then Moses Bishangwa, also the independent, came 4th with 349 votes. Perez Rumanzi of FDC became 5th with only 69 votes. Kira Ramperez, the independent, came in the 6th position with 37 votes. Those are the 6 candidates that participated.
Okay. And do we have any updates on the woman MP candidates?
On the woman MP, there were three aspirants. Kamatenet Josephine of NRM, with Kurani Masayun of Alliance for National Transformation, and Namara Catherine Masco, the independent. The preliminary results we have, the Kamatenet Josephine still leads, but there is a polling station somewhere in Rushenyi where they didn't vote. So it has led the Kamatenet to be declared the winner, but so far is leading. She's leading.
Okay. All right. So with those results so far, can you describe to us the mood of the people in Ntungamo and the different constituencies?
The mood in Ntungamo, unlike the other previous years where they used to vote, so far the Tare Center, there are only agents in the Tare Center and these polling assistants, plus what, but there is no any support around the Tare Center. Because the security has stopped, like 30 meters to, like 50 meters to the Tare Center, you can't cross there. So people became tired and went back home.
Okay. All right, well, thank you so much. We look forward to hearing more from you as the day goes by. Well, we've had it from Ntungamo, from the headquarters there, a report coming through, and so far the incumbent has lost his seat to Parliament, probably simply because they crossed over to Alliance for National Transformation. Now we get to look at Samuel Katandi.
Well, thank you, Priscilla. From Ntungamo, we go to Namutumba, where Samuel Katandi is online to be giving us what the atmosphere is like and any wins if already declared. Samuel, a lovely morning to you. Good morning, Samuel. Samuel, are you with us? Okay, Samuel will be getting you in a minute from now, and we also get a feel of what is happening in Namutumba. Felix, Gerard Karuhanga losing there, well, it's kind of a shock because he's been one of those vocal members of parliament. Remember him when during the time of COVID-19, if you remember the packages of MP where he went and challenged this. Okay, but I think we have now Samuel Katandi online. Good morning, Samuel.
Morning, sir.
How have you been?
So I'm doing well. Right now, I'm at the Basonga Sadu Memorial Institute in Namutumba district.
Okay.
Where hearing is there taking place right now.
Okay, please take us through if you have any results confirmed so far from this particular area.
The results have been neck to neck, mostly on the incumbents. And the results will be, hearing is now taking place at the Basonga Sadu Memorial Institute, and I'll give you the results within 30 minutes from now.
Okay. So the results, if tallying is still going on, just give us a picture of what the environment is like at the Tari Center, beginning with.
At the Tari Center, just a few people are allowed to enter inside. Those are the agents, the officials, and some few reporters. The rest of the people are outside the gate. They're not allowed to enter. I think it's because of this issue of COVID and so forth.
What? Okay.
Like most of the candidates inside here, they are the incumbent candidates, and they are hopeful that they're going to win the elections because already they are reading the results and they're taking on the figures. The one who rules are not even seen here. They're here early in the morning and they've disappeared, most of them. So here we have Oliver Kamba is inside, that's the incumbent. He's a member of parliament for Bustiki constituency. We have Hone Mariam Naigaga, that's the woman MP for Namutumba district. We have the Honorable Minister of State for Lands, Pasis Namuganza, is the incumbent for Bustiki, for Bukono constituency. What you should also know that Honorable Pasis Namuganza has been neck on neck with the Emmanuel Maganda, with the Honorable Emmanuel Maganda, who has been the district speaker of Namutumba. And then for the position of woman MP, Mariam Naigaga has been neck with Nakshita Betty Mpongo.
Okay.
Then this side of
Oh, sorry, we've lost Samuel Katandi there from Namutumba, but so far he says the tarring is still going on, and later we'll be able to get what is happening there. Felix, very interesting information there. Some have already declared.
Well, of course, Robert, also a couple of other places are still declaring, but we must also take note that in Chambogo, the Electoral Commission is just also preparing to give us more information about the election, and definitely we'll also hand over and link you to the Tally Center there in Chambogo to hear what the Electoral Commission is going to be telling the nation.
Thank you, Paul. We always start with a word of prayer.
Wow, yes, we do always start with a word of prayer. And let's do that this morning. Let's give thanks to God for the gift of yet another day. Father in heaven, we thank you for the gift of another day, for the gift of life, for the gift of our country, and for the gift of leaders. Just a few days ago, a few hours ago, people went out to cast votes, and now we have the results. We thank you for the gift of leaders, and we pray for everyone who's been called to serve, that they will serve well, they will lead with wisdom, and advance your nation and your people for the glory of your name, now and evermore. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.